Maybe? There we go. So everyone, welcome to this month's webinar about Gimmie and stuff for the Greenkeepers. As some of you know who actually was at the other webinar, we just had a webinar for more management and club side of things, of looking at how to get your course guide ready for the season. One important thing in that is, of course, to make sure that the course is actually ready for the season in Gimmie. Whether you have full control of the actual course itself, that's more up to you than me. But we, of course, want to ensure that everything you did in Gimmie is already, or on the course, is shown in Gimmie when the season starts. And I know that some of your courses are still frozen and stuff, but this still applies to something you should think about over the next months before your season actually starts. The session is divided into two parts. First, I will talk a lot the whole time, but the first part I will just talk from my slides and show you some things that we want you to think about. And then I will go into a little more practical mode after like 10 or 15 minutes and show you concretely how to do things. Most of the things on how to do it as a greenkeeper is limited to those of you who have access to GLFR Business, where GLFR Greenkeeper is a part. So if you don't have that, you can use this as some inspiration to consider whether you want it or not, and contact either Jeff or Casper if you want to learn a little more about it. Okay, but let's get started with my slides. And I'll excuse my graphics. I've started using all of the fancy AIs to do some of the graphics, and I really don't hope any of your bunkers look like this when you're making them. But that's what an AI thinks Greenkeepers do, which is actually pretty interesting. So the first and most important thing for getting your course ready for the season, or your course guides ready for the season in Gimmie, is that we know what you changed on the course over the winter, or what you have planned to change before the season starts. It could be anything that you changed out there. If you have updated some tee locations, some of you will move your tees from one actual tee location to another just to switch up the course a little, or make one of your playable tees a little harder or a little easier, and move that permanent marker. So if you move the permanent marker for the official rating of that tee, that's an important thing to get into Gimmie. Technically, you could also update Gimmie every time you move the tee, just 2 meters forward, 2 meters back, or whatever you do. But that's a lot of extra work and doesn't really make that much sense. The most important thing is that we have the actual location where you have that stone in the ground, or whatever, wherever you mark that actual tee measuring location. So if you changed any of your tees, that's one important thing to get into Gimmie, because the players will get the details in the app. And for all of those of you who have the GLFR Business platform, where you have printed guides as well, the GPS location is where we actually do distance markers in the app from. So it's really important that we know where that official location is. Some of you may have changed the hole order or some of the layout of the actual hole. So if you did anything in that scale, we of course need to know that as well. We cannot see that automatically from any map or anything. So if you did some changes like that, it's important that you update us on that. And then the image, if you did something with bunkers, did some new foregreens, or have a new lake, or removed something, or took down some trees, or planted some new bushes, or anything on the course, basically. So what I'm actually just trying to say is, any change you made, make sure that we have it in GLFR and in Gimmie, so the course guide can be updated. It's so bad if you did some changes and we didn't get it updated, and then in April or March, your course gets 200 or 500 or 1,000 printed course guides made. And then when they arrive, you see that, oh, the new bunker on hole 7 isn't on it, or we actually moved that little thing over here, or whatever it is. So make sure that you check through the data to see if everything is correct. I'll show you ways to do that in a few minutes. Oh, I need to click over there. Okay, so As you know, we've already mapped all of your courses. A lot of you are customers on the Golf for Business platform, so you have what we call a pro mapping. And a lot of these things we can actually handle from desktop. So if you've made changes to the hole order, but didn't really change the holes, that's something we can help you with. So you just need to contact our support on support, there's my mouse, support.b2b@golfer.com. Then we can help you change that hole order. You actually don't have the tools to do that anyway in the platform. Some of the changes you've made, we can see on maps, some of them we can't. If we can see it on a map, we can usually help you with it. If it's just deleting a bunker or something, there are tools for you to do that directly in Golf for Business. And if you don't know how, just write our support and we will help you as fast as we can and make sure your course guide is updated. So anything that can be done that way, we will help you as much as we can. And of course, there's no extra cost to that if you are already a customer. If you've made changes on your course that are actual physical changes, so a new bunker or a new lake, or especially new elements, deleting old elements we can do from desktop, as I said, but new elements needs to be done with on-site mapping. You do that from an app that we have called GLFR Greenkeeper. A lot of you have seen this app already, and I will show that app in a few minutes. And the app is used to actually add new elements with GPS directly on the course, just as on this example. He's just simply walking around that bunker with his phone in his hand, which will map that GPS coordinate. 1 second, I'll just take a little water. One thing that we recommend, if you have some changes on your course that are bigger or where you want high precision, is to get a high precision GPS. You can get that or borrow it directly from the NGF. I think it's Alexander you need to contact. I assume that most of you know who he is. If not, we will make sure that you know after in some email. But Alexander has one of these high precision GPSs that you can borrow. And as far as I know, it's even free, which is really nice. But of course, there's some timing there because it needs to be shipped and back, and it takes a day or two at your course to make whatever changes you made. So make sure to contact him soon if you need the high precision GPS. The difference between the two is if you do it with your phone and the weather is good, so usually with no clouds, that's the best scenario, no water in the air, then your phone will be fine for many things. But if you want something that's really precise, the high precision GPS will get you down to like centimeter precision in your mapping and make sure that you get the exact numbers, the exact location of whatever it is you map. It can be anything from a bunker to a sprinkler to new drainage or whatever you install. When you've done some on-site mapping, we will help you finish up the mapping just to make sure that everything looks the way it should. For example, if you expanded a bunker, we can maybe help you delete the old bunker to make sure it's only the new one that's in there or whatever it is. So once you've finished mapping on site, again, contact our support team and they will help you make the final changes and make sure it gets updated into your course guide. One thing to know here is that when we do any kind of mapping or when you do any on-site mapping, it doesn't show up in Gimmie immediately. It will take some manual action from you. This is made so you can do a lot of work on the course and check everything before it goes into the app. So no matter what you change inside the mapping tool of Gimmie, you will have to do something manually in Golf for Business before it goes out into the Gimmie app. So don't just expect it to show up in Gimmie. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not hard to do or anything, but there's like a review process that you need to make before it goes into the app. I will show that in 1 second. And of course, if you start using the Greenkeeper tool and have access to that through your Golf for Business subscription, there are a lot of other things we can help you with as a Greenkeeper. You will get what we call our tech map, which is shown here in the example on the computer right here. I'll show that live in a second, where you can see everything you've mapped. So instead of just having course elements, you can start mapping your tech installations, your irrigation, sprinklers, power lines, whatever you have on your course can be mapped. So you can get a digital map of that. For everything you've mapped, you can make what we call a logbook and documentation. So you can add all the details you want to these elements. And for anything that has an area, so that could be a bunker, a foregreen, your fairways, your tee cuts, whatever it is, we can calculate the area of that so you have the right numbers for buying new fertilizer or whatever it is you need to purchase to maintain your course. Okay, so any questions now before I go into more a demo of how to do these things? Nothing specifically. That's perfect. Again, you are welcome to write in the chat. Also, while I'm talking, we have a couple of the guys from the office in the meeting as well. They will answer as good as they can. And if the question needs it, I will take it directly on camera as well. But okay, let's jump into a little demo of how to do things. I will actually start off by showing my phone. Oh, just to give you a, let's see, where did that go? My phone's there. Just a, oh, you see it already. That's perfect. So it's in the middle of the screen. Ignore the Golf for Business in the background. I'm just starting off with the Gimmie app, because if you don't have access to Golf for Business with a subscription with us and then Golf for Greenkeeper, the best way to check your course as a greenkeeper is also just to run into Gimmie and check the actual course guide, what it looks like. If it doesn't look correct, contact us. To do that, you open the Gimmie app, you click Besøg Klub, which gives you your club page. This is Fana Golf Club, which I am a test member at. Click on your course guide here. I have it right here in the middle called Bane Guide. The name varies a lot from club to club. Some of you will have a lot of orange lines here with all of your 27, 36, whatever number of holes you have and courses. Click on your course guide. Click Spil med Bane Guide right there. The app will automatically down the latest version that we have published. And when the spinner is filled out, as I have here in the middle, you're ready to click play. And then your course will show. You can zoom in by pinching on the screen just to see all of the details. So this is basically the easiest way for you, more or less for everyone, just to check what is actually live in Gimmie right now. It could be you made some changes in October or November, but someone, either with you guys or with us, forgot to press the new version button and it doesn't show yet. So that's just something you need to contact us to help you with. But just flip through all of the holes here, click on the arrow in the right, which will take you through the holes, just to check if everything looks the way it should. Find that missing bunker or whatever it is, just to check if it's in there. Okay, so if you have access to Golf for Business and Golf for Greenkeeper, you have some of the tools to fix this yourself, so you don't have to wait for us to have time, which is great. I'll jump into the app we have that's called Golf for Greenkeeper. Golf for Greenkeeper is going through a lot of changes right now, so some of it will not look exactly the same when you try it out, but the general part of it is the same. In the main menu of Golf for Greenkeeper, you'll have a menu point called Mapping, or soon just Tech Map. Go into the mapping part of the app. This will show your course. Right now, I'm here at the office in Aarhus. There's no golf course near me, and my GPS is bad. That's why the dot is red. But when you go on the course, your dot should go green, which means your GPS, even on your phone, is stable and should be okay in precision. And of course, you will see all of the elements on your actual course. Let's zoom out a little to see if I can find, oh, I'll have to. If you don't see any elements on your course, click the layers in the top right and just enable a couple of them. Cuts, of course, all of your grass areas, your hazards. And I know it's called penalty areas today, but the app is still called hazards. vegetation to see your trees and stuff. And now you actually see that on my demo, I even have some data in here, but let's go out here. This looks a little more like a golf course. So this is what your app will more or less look like when you open it. The new version will have a little more colors, but in the gist of it is the same. So what you basically want to do in the Greenkeeper app, if you have access to that through GLFR Greenkeeper, you can select what kind of element you want to add. So that could be your new bunker or your drainage or whatever it is you want to add. Let's say you made a new bunker that will be under hazards. I will select bunker from this list. Click the gear just to collapse it. And all you have to do now to map a new bunker, exactly like, let's jump back to this guy and show the screen at the same time. Right there. So he is seeing the exact same screen as I'm sharing right now. He has selected bunker, and what to do to map the new bunker is basically click start in the bottom right. The UI will go over to say, where's my mouse? Pause. So that means you're actually started mapping. And as you start walking around the bunker or driving along the new drainage line or along the new fairway cut you made because you wanted more shapely fairways or whatever it is, it will show directly on this map as you move. So there will be like a line behind you. It will be orange just to show that this is a new element being mapped. Down here in the right, you can see this still says pause with me. That's because I haven't mapped anything yet because I'm not moving. I'm inside the office. The phone is on my desk. But if you had moved and you had this line behind you, it would say the finish button down here would light up. So basically what you do is you walk around the perimeter of the bunker with your phone or the high precision GPS directly over the bunker edge. And when you have walked all the way around, you simply click finish. And as soon as you finish it, it's uploaded to the servers and ready for review and to be sent into Gimmie. Again, I can't do it because I'm standing still and it won't let me save a bunker that is only a centimeter wide, which is what's happening here inside. I'll just click cancel down here just to stop this UI again. So any element you want to add manually on the course is done through the Greenkeeper app. So again, I can click the gear. I can go through all of these elements. This list will show the layers that I have available. So if I enable tech here as well, I can also see all of the tech elements I can map right here. So that could be your cables, your drainage, gas pipes, if you have that through your course, sprinklers, water boxes, more or less anything you need on your course. And everything that's mapped can be shown on your tech map afterwards. Very soon, you will be able to use the map in the app just to see the tech data directly, but that's not out yet, so I can't show you that yet. I will show you what it looks like in GLFR Business on your PC. So let's go over here, tab out. So inside GLFR Business, this is what it will look like when you log in. I'm on my demo club right now, so just ignore the names and stuff. Of course, this will be your specific golf course. Click on Greenkeeper in the main menu and Tech Overview. This is where you will see everything you've mapped. And if you're a business customer with access to GLFR Business or GLFR Greenkeeper, sorry, this is also a way to check if the changes you made have already been mapped or not. So instead of going into the Gimmie app, you can open the tech map and zoom in on anywhere on your course just to see if the bunker that you made on hole number 1, let's say you made a new one here, if that is mapped or not. If it's not in here, it will not be in Gimmie. I hope that makes sense. So this is also a good way if you have that access. This map also shows all of the other things that have been mapped. In the Gimmie app, of course, you will only see the playing elements on the course. So all of your fairways and greens and bunkers and tees and penalty areas and all of that. You won't see the sprinklers or the wells or the gas pipes inside the Gimmie app because that doesn't make sense for the players. But on the tech overview in here, you can see all of those tech installations as well. For example, we have the blue dot here, which will be a sprinkler mapped on this course in between these T areas. You can see that I've actually demoed this specific sprinkler in 2001 because I gave it a description there, or a name here, that it's a rainbird sprinkler. And these input fields are where you can do some documentation on your elements. So if you started mapping your tech, let's go down. Oh, there were some sprinklers up here as well. So once you start mapping these sprinklers, I actually called all of these Rainbird 2 2021, which could be fine because that could be the model or whatever it is of this sprinkler. But everything you map, you can give a name and a description. And these fields are used then for filtering things and just to document everything you have on your course. So if one of these sprinklers is not a 2021 model anymore, but the completely new 2024 model, you can simply update it directly here because you switched out that specific sprinkler. If it's something like that, I would recommend also adding what we call a logbook entry, where you say that we updated the sprinkler to the 2024 model. Great. So now we will have a timestamp for when this change was done, and you will get this logbook of everything you did. So if you made a small improvement or changed a valve or whatever it is you did on the course, the logbook, the documentation and description can also go on your mapped areas. So this bunker, for example, if you want to add to the logbook that it always is underwater in the spring or whatever it is you want to add, you can add that as logbook entries to anything that's mapped on the course. Could be a tree, a bunker, a green, or all of your tech installations. But the most important thing when the case is making sure your course guide is ready is, of course, to check all of the play elements. We can talk more about tech and how to use the tech parts more after the official part of this meeting or at another webinar. Okay, so when you have made the changes on the course or you've had help to do it, if you do it yourself and feel like the mapping you did on site with your GPS looks fine when you go in here and check out the mapping. Let's say you added that new bunker up here. What you have to do to get it into Gimmie is go into products, and most of you will have access to this depending on your role in the club. You can go into your course guide. So this is the actual course guide that's inside the Gimmie app. And there are a ton of settings, and you can ignore all of them basically. But what you have to do, or someone has to do, when you've made your changes and reviewed them and checked that everything looks correct, is go all the way to the bottom here and click New Golfer. This will create a new Golfer course guide, which is the course guide inside Gimmie. And click that button, it'll say Generating Golfer Guide. And then in a few minutes, I will get an email saying the new guide is ready with all the updates you made on the course. So I just showed this because I know that most of you probably won't go in here and do this part. That will be us or your club manager or whatever. But it was just to show you that it's not like it's a long review process where you have to do a lot of things and it's hard to do. There's one button to click if you know your mapping is good. So that's an easy way to do it. And it takes a few minutes. You will get an email. The person who clicked the button gets the email on when the guide is ready. And also, if something goes wrong, we get an email so we can react. But usually within a few minutes, I will get an email. You can also see there's a timestamp right below the button. That's the last time it was clicked and updated. So in this case, September 2023, the Golfer Guide on this demo club was updated. If you want to see what it would look like on paper, you can simply click New Printed here to the left. And again, within a few minutes, you will get an email with a link to a PDF version of that same course guide. So that's what it would look like if you wanted to actually do it on print. update it for your website, and get specific drawings of your greens. All of these options are directly down here. If you want to see the current version, so this one from September, you simply click the download button right up here, which will download that course guide and show you what this specific guide looks like as a paper guide. Another good way to check if it looks correct. In the paper guide, you can also check if sponsors and everything else is correct, of course, but that's not so much Greenkeepers, more club management doing that. So I won't go into detail on how to do that. If you've made some changes on your course, and this will be the last thing I show right now, and the change is just deleting something on your course, removing a bunker, taking away some trees or whatever it is. Again, you can contact us to help you, but there is actually a tool to do it directly in here. Click on courses, select the course where you remove the bunker, find the hole. Let's say we removed something on hole 4, and then you can click edit drawing in the bottom right. This actually opens up an interface where you can edit your mapping directly. You cannot do any mapping changes inside the Greenkeeper tech overview. That's just to see what it looks like right now. But in here, you can actually change everything about your mapping. We don't recommend changing shapes and stuff in here, because as soon as you start doing that, you will lose precision from the original mapping, because you don't have the high precision map in the background or the high precision GPS in here. But you can do changes as deleting stuff, because then the shape doesn't matter. Let's say I want to take out this bunker right here. We don't want that because it just annoys players. Let's say that. So I select it. It tells me a little detail about it over here. Most importantly, when it was mapped. It was added in 2022. And let's say that was an experiment and the experiment went wrong. We want to remove it again. I simply click on the bin right here to delete it and then confirm. And then it's gone. And then again, back into products. New golfer app, and within a few minutes, Gimmie and Golfer is updated without this bunker inside them. So that there is a really simple tool, and this also goes for a tree like this one. Again, if the tree was removed, click the delete button, click confirm, and the T is gone. Be wary in here, because if you start deleting a lot of things and they aren't supposed to be deleted, there's a problem. Of course, we have backups, so it's not a big problem. But don't delete something that you don't want deleted. Once you've deleted a couple of things, like I did here, nothing is saved until you actually click the save button over here. So there's like a backup for you if you did something you didn't want to do. So remember that there is a backup. You can also see that I have the back button here, so I can revive the tree and the bunker if I want to. This is really important, because if you are navigating through this interface and you wanted to click the bunker, but you clicked the fairway and accidentally moved it, that wouldn't be good if you accidentally saved that. And it doesn't save automatically for that reason. So here I can click back and have the fairway jump back into position, and then I can click on the bunker again. And if you think you did something but don't know if it's saved or not, the best thing is basically just to refresh the page, and then everything you changed and didn't click save, everything is back to where it was before. So if you don't know if you accidentally did something, it's a good idea just to refresh the page. But this gives you the option to actually go in and manipulate your course, and delete something is the most important thing in here. You can technically change the shape of things. For example, here we have a line of trees on the side here. This can be changed by, you can of course move it by just dragging it if you want to, or you can actually go into our shape changing tool and with these vector handles actually change the shape. This is a little advanced and you need to know how to work with it, but this gives you freedom to actually manipulate something. This is also how we can manipulate it. If you did an on-site mapping and something looks a little off, could actually be right here. Let's move this tree line. So this little curve into the high rough here Of course, that's not there. Really, that was just the GPS when mapped that did a little thing. This happens sometimes. This is something that we could fix directly in the mapping in here. So I would delete some of these points. Again, I won't go into detail exactly how, but this tool gives you the option to actually manipulate these details without going on site if that's something you want to do. Again, if I click save, let's do that for all the trees removed. I'll move them back. I'll put them there. This is the demo, so that's fine. I'll click save. Saved, and now it's ready for being published inside the app or for a printed guide. One important thing is that if you start manipulating stuff like the high rough that I did here, this of course manipulates GPS data directly and thus also manipulates your area calculations. So just don't just go in doing it if you don't know what you're planning to do. If you want to make some changes in here, it's best to contact us. We will give you a short instruction on how to actually use it, and then you can start working in here if you want to. Okay, that was enough demoing for me and talking. I think the main points here was, yes, I will show the pin positions, of course. The main points here was just to check if your course data is correct for the season. If you made some changes during the winter or have changes planned before the season start, this is a good time to actually start working on that here. If you already marked on your course where your new bunker should be, but you haven't made it yet, but you have put in stakes or whatever, you can go out and map it, make sure it's ready. And because you have to click the new golfer button before it goes into Gimmie, we can wait with releasing the version until your bunker is ready. So you can prepare that work and then a few weeks later, actually release it. Okay, but yeah, the main point was make sure your course is mapped correctly and ready for the season for Gimmie and for printed guides and everything on your course. Raida asked me to show pin positions. Let's try that. I need my mouse. Pin positions is one of the few things you can update on your course without releasing a new golfer guide, because we want the pins to show up with the player as soon as you move the pin. Let's see my app. Where did my app go? My app is there. Okay, so in the main menu again, you will have a section called Pin Positions. In here, you will have a list of the pin setups that you have. Most of you will just have one setup. If you don't have even one setup, contact our support and we will get you started on pins. Pin setups are managed inside Golfer Business directly. We have this pin positions right here. When I've selected a course in the left, I can see my pin setups directly in here. So you can create your own, but we will help you if you don't have it. We recommend basically just having one for your daily pin updates. Let's take our parking lot. Oh, I didn't set that up correctly. I'm not on the right course, I think. Let's see if any of these have valid data. Oh, I'm on a random demo club here. Let's see if I can select another club and if it has some pin positions I can use. Yes, okay. I switched club in my Greenkeeper app because I'm an admin. I can do that. Let's go back to the main menu. So again, pin positions. It looks the same. Now it's just on a course that actually works. So default pin setup or daily or whatever it's called, I'll go into that. This will show me all the 18 holes on this course and where the pin is currently placed. So on hole 1, it's 20 meters in and 5 meters to the side. That's what it says here. 20 meters in on hole 2 and 3 meters minus, it's 3 meters to the left. You know, the classic coordinate system. The easiest way for you to set pins is click on the click on the flag here on the right, this will show this UI. Tell me I'm on hole number 2, and currently the pin is right here, a little behind the center. And again, in the bottom here, you can see it's 20 meters in and 3 meters to the left because it's a minus coordinate. And we know that the official way of making a pin position would be 20 meters in and some meters from the side of the green. That's how they do it on tour. So it's not related to the center, but that's really hard to build a UI for making that data. So that's why with us, when you input it, it's based on your T point, so your front center point of your green, and number of meters in and meters to one of the sides on your coordinate system. And what you can basically do, there are a few ways to do it. You can click the plus and minus down here, which will basically just move the pin. You can see the P icon here, which is your pin location actually move. So if you just want to say, I want it up here, that's perfect. So visually you're on your course and you say it's over here. You can actually also just, if I can, let's see if that works on screen share. It doesn't really work on screen share. Does it? No. Maybe with my mouse? No. Okay. But you can drag it. It doesn't work on my screen sharing, but you can actually also just drag it, grab the P or point to the P and drag it, or click anywhere on your green to place the pin there. So if the pin was down here in the front, you would basically just tap one time there where my mouse is and the pin would move. It doesn't work on my screen share for some reason, but you know what I'm trying to do. We could just simulate it by moving the pin down and all the way to the left. You can actually see in the top right corner the check mark. Every time I click the plus or minus, the check mark is flashing. That's because it's saved immediately. And this information is then saved to Gimmie and sent to Gimmie immediately. So within a few seconds, actually, of you moving the pin, you would see it in the Gimmie app as well. And since I'm on this random demo course, I can't really show it in Gimmie, but it would show up directly on the green, and the mapping here, the distance marker where my marker is there, would be to the pin instead of to the center of the green, which is the default. And this means that if you do this the 2, 3, 4 times you move your pin, it takes, when you've done it a couple of times, it takes 10 seconds to update the pin. You open the UI, click that you have the pin in the top right corner instead. That position is usually just fine for this. You can also, of course, go down to your T and walk the meters in and the meters to the side to get the actual number you want to input in the bottom. But for all the courses that are doing this now, as far as I know, they simply tap down here to place the pin or tap one time on the screen to place it. And that's fine for precision for this. If you do this every time you move your pin, it is automatically updated in Gimmie if it's set up to do it, and we can help you with that. And this means that instead of having, you know, the classic green zones or sections where you say you want to put the pin in zone 1, 2, or 3, and you announce that, it gives you complete freedom to place your pins and better details for your players at the same time. So it's kind of a win-win situation. When you do it like this, you don't have to switch the flag from red to white to yellow, depending on whether it's for front, center, or back of the green. You don't have to announce that the pin is in zone A today and remember to place it in zone A on all your greens. You can place it where it makes sense for you as a greenkeeper, or maybe as the pro or whoever wants to place the greens. But you know that sometimes you come out there and the plan is that you place the pin in zone B, but zone B is actually really wet today because you've had rain for the last week, and you really don't want to place it in B because that would destroy that part of the green, or whatever the reason is. Using pin positions like this gives you the freedom to place it wherever you want, and you don't have to manage flags of different colors or a little marker on the flag that's on the top or the center of the bottom of the flag or anything. map it in the Greenkeeper app, and you can show it directly to all your players in Gimmie. And Agris asked, is there a history on it? Yes, we keep a history on the pins. We haven't made a UI or any way to show it yet, but every time you update the pin, we remember where it was. The plan for us is at some point to make statistics on how the holes are played based on the pin position. So as you probably know, if the pin is in the front, but the front is really curvy and stuff, then that's where it will play harder than par. And if you place it on the center, it'll probably play a little easier than par. And we hope to make that data at some point. So we keep the history, we just haven't figured out how to show it yet. Okay, any other questions to any of the things I've talked about or to pins? Stein skriver, Greenkeeper ændrer mandag, men ikke i GLFR. Stein, I'm guessing that this has something to do with how the setup is on your course specifically. Is it okay that I open Lavik on screen? I think I will stop the official webinar now because we're going into more detailed questions and it doesn't have to be a part of the recording. So I'll just say thank you to everyone on the recording, and we'll stay here for questions if any of you have it. Or yeah, let's click stop.